let's go ahead and get started. I'm Brian Berkey, your new secretary. And the first order of business is really to introduce the new members. And so many of you are here. Just to give you an idea of the society, we have 79 new members. 34 are active, 9 corresponding, 1 associate, and 22 candidate members. So I'm going to go ahead and read everybody's name, and we have plaques for pretty much everyone. But those of you who, when your name is called, if you can come up and pick up your plaque and shake hands with Dr. Day. So, what's that? Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and take our seats then before we do this. Okay, sorry. So the lunches will be here, I'm told. So, all right. So let me go ahead and introduce the new members. I guess we'll hold applause until the end. So we'll start with the active members: Alec Vaizi, Embu Jakshan Dildeep, Andrew Schumann, Anthony Tafaro, Arun Shakar Joshi, Bradley Johnson, Charles Coffey, Andrew J. Shin, Eustorgio A. Lopez, Gina Jefferson, Issam Aid, James May IV, Jason Rich, John De Almeida, John Mathy, John Burton, Joseph Blake Golden, Keith Andrew Casper, Kevin L. Potts, Kiran Kakarala, Mira Milas, Kirsten Otto, Magid Ghali, Mark Burke, Peter Jingalewski, Philip Pergusis, Richard William Farmer, Samer Al-Qadari, Saral Meira, Shlomo Koifman, Tamara Watts, Trinisha Cannon, Vasu Devi, Victoria Meucci Villaflor, Abdul Rahman Ali Mohammed Bohanan, Ahmed Abbas Shlaka, Andrew Cho, Antoine Mokani, Shamat Chopra, Kazuaki Chikamatsu, Christian Simon. How are we doing? Sorry. Takahiro Sujikawa, Volkert Riesman, Catherine Hutchison, Abby Mendelson. Eileen Lambert. Andres Lopez Albatero. Tony Esconder. Arun Sharma. Benjamin Roman. Oh. Perfect. Christian Paul Hasney. Daniel Rock. David Fisher. David Neske. Kia Josina Duncan. Elizabeth Leon. Hamad Chaldari. Hani Almarzuki. Jesse Ryan. Let people get caught up here for a second. Levi Ledgerwood. Neil Gildner Leapman. Pablo Montero Miranda. Okay, just going to go back. Hani Almarzuki, Jesse Ryan, Levi Ledgerwood, Neil Gidner Leapman, Pablo Montero Miranda, Samantha Jill Hoff, Stephen Kang, Stephen Richard Bomelli, and Virginia Akeem. So those are all of our new 79 members. We're going to take a brief picture, but one of the things that our Professionalism and Ethics Committee asked was that the candidates, be aware of and accept our statement of professionalism and ethics, and due to time we won't read it. But again, as new members we're all held, and old members we're all held to these ethics, and we obviously want to hold every member. So we're going to take a quick picture. Hang on one second, hold on, sorry, hold your applause just till we get the last person. Oh, thank you, yeah. Hey, there's a lot of names. All right, so as they take a picture, let's give a round of applause to our new members. All right, so just a quick, while they're taking pictures, our membership is continually increasing. You can see this is just a graph of our new membership. It's as high as it's ever been, partly because our applications continue to be very strong. Please, as a plea to our members and new members, as you go through the meeting halls, please remind people to join the American Head and Neck Society because of all the good things we do, including putting on meetings. But all of the work. So next, before the Treasury report, I'm going to ask Terry Day to give his final report as president of the Head and Neck Society. Terry gave a great lecture today, and this is his, I guess, last official act.
Last official act. Thank you, Brian. It's been a great year. I think I am as optimistic as I've ever been for this society. Membership is up. The budget is up. The foundation is up. We're really, and I've had an easy job. I've had Ehab running the books, Brian running this show, as well as Bevan and Jayton organizing the meeting along with the rest of the program committee. A lot has happened. The meeting obviously speaks for itself, so I'm not going to go into that, but we've upgraded all of the policies and procedures for our society, and thanks to Christina and her staff, we now have a policies and procedures book. Dennis Krause was involved in reorganizing the committee structure. Our committees are more active than I could ever imagine, and it was one of those be careful what you wish for, because when we reorganized it, we said we want you more active and we want some measurables every year, and unfortunately they exceeded those, so now we need more staff to do what the committees are doing, so it was a good thing. We have renegotiated our budget with BSC and had some outside involvement from some consultants, which showed us that BSC was being true to their word. Our contract was fair, and we had some very nice edits that will benefit and incentivize the Head and Neck Society as well as BSC in the future. I could go on and on. There's another 100 items that are ongoing, and we have a great team. We have a great management staff. We have a great leadership and membership. So I think this meeting, please encourage our international colleagues to join the Head and Neck Society. And please, if you're not involved, you can get involved. Tonight from 5 to 6 is the membership as well as the fellowship information system, session. But the other recommendations I would have, if there's some residents or fellows or new members out there and you think this is a big bureaucracy and you're wondering how to really get involved, the first thing is to put your name in for a committee this year. Say, I want to be on this committee. Maybe put 2 or 3 that you're interested in. Do a great job on that committee. Get involved, be active, become a committee chair, and then the rest will take care of itself. So we do need some young, energetic members, so please get more involved. And with that, thank you very much. I am honored to serve this society, and I'll continue to do so. And please let me know how I can help in the future. Thanks for this opportunity.
All right. So I'm going to give a very brief secretary's report. Basically, one of the key roles for all of you that the secretary does is acts as a liaison for the academy and COSM. COSM has developed some new rules of conduct which will be implemented over the next year. One of the things that does allow us to have some concurrent meetings, so whereas the past couple years the American Head and Neck Society has generally been at the front of the meeting of COSM, that may change over time, although we do have a footprint that runs through, I believe, 2018. All right, and for the Academy, the Academy is very active, and I'll just say the Head and Neck Society has been very active in working with the Academy to achieve common goals. There's really no friction whatsoever, so we worked very well to maintain our affiliation with the Corps and still maintain, financial stability. So. With that, that's the end of my secretary's report. We have a lot of reports. I would ask that the people giving the reports stay on time. We have really just less than 1 hour to finish the remainder of this meeting. Some of the people have slides, some don't. If you want to give your report from the floor, just please come to the microphone. You can do it. Otherwise, come to the podium. If you don't have a report, then just let us know. But I'll go through them one by one. Our agenda is on the back. You can see the print is easy enough for everyone to see. So we'll go from that. But the main slides will be on the side. So next report will be the Treasurer's Report, EHAB Hannah. And actually, this is combined with the Finance Committee report, which Sherry Ann Nathan chairs.
Thank you, Brian. So I'll be brief. Oh. So let me just go back here and start with the financial highlights of the last 5 years. And we have completed 2013, so I'm happy to share with you the data that we have increased our total assets for both the society and foundation, as you can see from this graph, and I'm sure 2014 will be a positive year. It's just a testament to the leadership of the society and the foundation and the fiscal responsibility that we're all displaying in keeping our financial state in strong shape. So today, as of June 2014, you can see the total cash in hand for the society, the total investment in hand for the society, and the same for the foundation. I have to tell you, though, that these numbers are of June 2014. The income from the meeting is in, the expenses are not in, so that number will be significantly lower once all the expenses are in. But I echo what everybody said already about Dr. Shaw's personal leadership in making sure that this meeting stays on track from a fiscal standpoint. Bert O'Malley and his development committee, and BSC, particularly Colleen, in raising the relevant sponsorship, and everybody else on the executive that I have to say in the last 2 or 3 weeks we must have gone through 4 or 5 iterations of the budget in close contact with the conference chair and everybody else. So enjoy the meeting, and I'm hoping that next year I will give you a full report on the success from the budgetary standpoint on this endeavor. Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Good job, EHAB. Not only are we doing well, but it takes a tremendous amount to keep track of all that money, and EHAB doesn't let a dollar go by that isn't watched. Next, Randy Weber is going to give the foundation report. Randy?
Thank you. This is my last year as chair of the foundation. I'm pleased to announce Dr. Jatin Shah was elected to replace me. And if you think I twist arms, I'm nothing compared to Jatin, so get ready for that. The Centurion Club's doing well. I would encourage all Centurion members to pay it a visit. We just, with the leadership of Ted Technos from Ohio State, there was a departmental challenge that was very successful, and I think Kelly's here. Is Kelly Honecker here? Come on up, Kelly. She's going to announce the winner. And I would just encourage all academic departments to follow Ted's lead and get engaged in this, because it's a great way for faculty to contribute to the foundation.
Thanks. Yeah, the Institution Challenge was a new campaign that we launched this year, introduced to us by Dr. Ted Technos at The Ohio State, so thank you to him for that. It was something fun that we wanted to play on, per his suggestion, the naturally competitive nature of surgeons, and kind of see what institution could garnish the most support in terms of number of physicians as well as actual financial contributions to the foundation. So definitely fun thing. We hope to grow it, kind of make it an annual thing, and so something we start to know is going to happen, with the winner always announced at the annual meetings. So to that end, thank you to all who did participate. We had several institutions, and we brought in on just about $30,000, which was great. All the institutions will be listed on the website. I'm not going to list them off here, but you're welcome to visit there and see them. Now, this isn't rigged, I promise, but our winner for this year is The Ohio State University. So if Dr. Technos is here, we appreciate it, and let's uproot him next year, right? Someone else can take the place. So, thank you.
It's the best competition, the one you set up and win.
Oh no, we're gonna have.
Get a picture, three of us.
Okay, just to finish up with the report, you'll be getting a brochure that Kelly's put together that will be encouraging you to donate to the foundation. We're enhancing the website, and with Dr. Shah's leadership, we're going to make an increased effort to garner industry support. We currently have $1.7 million in the foundation. Our goal is $3 million, and with that, the proceeds from the income from that account will fund all of our current research portfolio. So we need your help. There's been a continued segment of our society that donate every year. But if you think about it, if 250 members donated $1,000 a year for 3 years, we could achieve the $3 million goal, and then we would free up operational funds to fund other research endeavors. So I would really encourage you to do that. Give to the O'Brien Traveling Scholar Award or to the Sewell Young Investigator Award. This is just a snapshot of the growth of the foundation. The blue bars are the endowment, the rest is in checking, the blue is invested, and we've done quite well on our returns. So please support the foundation. It's critically important. Mike Kupferman wrote an article about the return on investment. For every dollar we invest in our research grants, the return on investment's been 600%. So I really would like to see the membership get behind this. Thank you very much.
So the society, Randy, Dr. Weber's done a fabulous job, and it's a lot of hours put in. So, and this is his final meeting as chair of the foundation. As he mentioned, Dr. Shah's taking over. We have a small plaque for his, in appreciation of his work. So.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks again, Randy. Next, I don't know if, Bevan, did you want to, and Jayton, I'm sorry. Just to report on the early results of this fabulous meeting.
This is only an interim report as of last Friday. Can I have that slide, please? So all I have put here is the initial numbers we had budgeted and where we were as of last Friday. We had expected 1,600 registrations, and we have doubled that. Registration fees were expected in the range of $1.2 million, and I think we are over $3 million. Exhibit fees, 100,000 up to 140. Industry support and other grants of 150,000, we are nearly $500,000 on that. Total income was expected to be 1.5. We are over 3 million on that. And expenses are equally high. 1.5 was the budget. We are probably going to be at least 2.5. But this is a rough estimate. Don't hold on to us if we don't generate surplus, because New York is an expensive city, and BSC has done a fabulous job in cost containment, but still keeping people happy with food, with drinks, with coffee. And so we will probably have some surplus, but all in all, I think, as you can see so far, people who attended the meeting, they are happy. Bevan, you want to? Okay. So as far as I'll summarize your report, if you go to the second half of the slide, Okay, we had expected 1,000 abstracts. We received 1,900. And then rest of the contents of the program, as you can see, over 1,300 posters, over 500 oral presentations, and rest of the keynotes and debates as listed. So again, academically, this has been a very enriching experience for all of us. And on behalf of Bevan and myself, we are thankful to the society to give us this honor of organizing and putting this meeting together. Thank you.
Again, a big thank you to Dr. Sean and Dr. Yu for putting on such a great meeting, if not a bit crowded. All right, so Del, did you want to say anything? Sorry, Dr. Pittman, Karen? You don't have to. I have slides for, sorry.
Yeah, I have no slides. I just want to say we're trying for the first time, well, for this time, combining these two meetings. It will be a little different structure, so we'll appreciate everybody's support. The meeting for the translational research part will start on Tuesday, and we'd appreciate everybody encouraging people at your institution to come for that Tuesday meeting. The combined head, neck, and translational meeting will be Wednesday, and Thursday will be the traditional head and neck meeting of COSM. So one-day extension, I think it'll really be worth it.
All right. And then the 2016 meeting is Dr. Irish or Dr. Ferris here. Yeah, and please remember, just before you, Bob, before you say that, there is a second meeting in 2016, and that is the, sorry, I'll just go back, the multidisciplinary meeting, which is co-sponsored. But the 2016 meeting to not miss, Dr. Ferris?
Thank you. John Irish is on his way over here. We are in the thick of planning. We invite suggestions from the membership, particularly in the experience of this meeting, for topics, things that worked well. We'd like to really incorporate the successes of this meeting and build on those. In 2016, we had a planning session after the council meeting Saturday evening, and so plans are underway to be as inclusive and broad and comprehensive. And so you'll hear much more about that, but we're now really, I think, in full steam organizational mode for that 2016 meeting. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And if you have suggestions for the meeting, please contact either Dr. Irish or Dr. Ferris. Next, we have an ad hoc committee just recently formed for the ACGME task force, and I'll have Dr. Gerard speak briefly about that.
Thank you, Brian. We were asked to take a look at the pros and cons, if you will, of considering ACGME accreditation of our fellowships. As you know, we have a very active advanced training council. It's done a superb job of putting out the guidelines for fellowships, doing site visits on a regular cycle, and we're very, very happy with the quality of our fellowships. But with the dynamics in the marketplace, it's suggested that we should at least think about where we want to be 10 and 15 years from now in terms of accreditation of our fellowship programs and in the context of what other specialties are doing. So really where we're at right now is Brian and I are co-chairing this task force. We're in the data gathering mode of what it would take to do that, what's the cost to do that, what are the requirements to that, what are the restrictions involved with that. And those of you in the room that are program directors for residencies are all too familiar with some of the challenges of working through the ACGME process. Once we get that data summarized, we will be putting together a survey that will be going out to our program directors of the fellowships and another number of other constituent bodies within the organization to get some feedback on that. And I'm sure this is really going to be a multiple-year conversation. So more to follow on that. We know everybody's probably got an opinion on it today, and we look forward to hearing them all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, one of the great successes of the meeting as well has been the development, and Bert O'Malley has chaired the Ad Hoc Development Committee. I don't know if you've heard some data. Is Bert here? Yeah, do you want to say anything, Bert?
Thank you. So for those who don't know, it's a new committee formed basically at the end of last year, last meeting by Dr. Wax and the leadership of the American Head Neck Society as a tester. The real mission was to provide a coordinated and ongoing, somewhat cohesive effort and engaging our industry partners appropriately in this changing landscape of very complex rules and regulations in terms of providing the educational support, financial support for our educational mission at our meetings. At the same time, working in coordination with the foundation so that we aren't competitive but synergistic in what our goals would be. So this was a tester. I was pleased to be part of it and had a tremendous team behind that. And we rallied in a learning process this year, and the success working with also the IFNOS team, Dr. Shaw and his crew, to raise slightly more than what Dr. Shaw mentioned. We had a little bit extra money coming at the end, $486,700 in both donors and educational grants from our sponsors. So that was tremendous. And in addition, $148,000 in exhibits for $634,900 total for this meeting. Now, I don't think we should expect that on an annual basis, or I'll die and the rest of our committee will die. But what I think it shows is with a coordinated effort that success is possible and needed. Plus, part of the mission of the committee, and I won't take too much time, but I think it's important, is we spent time during this meeting with our leadership and committee members, meeting with our corporate sponsors so that they understand who we are and what's going on and what they're investing in our mission. So it's not just a meeting or because we had influence over them as a favor or they were excited about this one event, but they're looking at us as a society is what we want, an awareness of what the American Head Neck Society collectively is and why they should be providing their funds to help support our mission. So that's the really big underlying theme, and I think it's been successful so far in engaging. We appreciate everyone's awareness of this so that we can continue to have great events like this. Thank you. Thank you,
and Bert and his committee have done a great job, and the BSC team support has also been wonderful, so we appreciate that. Next is another ad hoc committee, soon to become a full committee as well, survivorship. Is Dr. Miller here to give a report?
Good afternoon, thanks. So the Survivorship Committee actually was conceived after the meeting last year. A group of us kind of have been interacting electronically and had our first face-to-face meeting this past weekend. Essentially what we're looking at doing is developing evidence-based recommendations and guidelines for post-treatment care for some of the non-oncologic issues. So some of our first tasks are actually to work on treatment summaries, and we're going to do that in conjunction with some colleagues at ASTRO and ASCO. And then soon to be coming out with some really good evidence-based materials to be published both hopefully in conjunction with the Education Committee and with the Website Committee. So we are a relatively small membership thus far, so if anyone has any particular interest or expertise, we'd love to have your help and support, and look forward to presenting our continued work. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Advanced Training Council. Dr. Lydiot, Bill will be giving the report.
Thank you, Brian. The ATC's had an active year. I'd like to report a few things. Number one, the match went off quite successfully. We had 50 positions. We had ultimately 33 applicants, and they were all matched successfully. And in the post-match days here, most of the other positions are being filled already. So it's been very successful. We have two new programs to report, Washington University in St. Louis and Mayo Clinic. Both received unanimous approval at the ATC for recommendation to the council, and the council voted unanimously also. So congratulations to those two programs. Third, I just want to encourage everyone to attend the 5 o'clock session if possible. It's where if you have anyone who's interested in either becoming a fellow or becoming a member, we'd like to see you there. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. And again, thanks. Everyone has been very concise, and I appreciate that because we only have about 35 minutes left. So thanks, everyone, for doing so. Awards Committee, Dr. Carroll.
Thanks, Brian. The Awards Committee met in the early spring to review manuscripts for this particular meeting. The the committee did a great job reviewing all of that, found great papers. We will not be active again until next spring, leading into the COSM meeting.
Okay, thank you. A lot of work, kind of invisible work, but they do great, a lot of reviewing. Paul Friedlander with the CME compliance. I know he's not here, but thanks.
Hi, Greg Crumple standing in for him. The CME compliance committee did a lot of work, and much thanks to all the committee members. All those 500 oral presentations had to be reviewed for conflict of interest, and we got all those done. And all those with conflict were appropriately managed accordingly. Some of those were changed to posters where there was conflict, and then the CME committee has sent monitors to those sessions where there's potential conflict to see if somebody will say the wrong thing. So that's all being managed well. The big task for the CME committee at this upcoming year is reaccreditation through the ACCME. This is an 18-month process with a timeline of various steps to do. We're thankful to have Aaron Schwartz from BSE, who's been through this a time or two, to guide us, and we've established a task force of the active members who are going to be working on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, great work that tends to be invisible otherwise, so, but absolutely critical. So next, our new chair of the Constitution Bylaws Committee, Ellie Megami, will we'll give the committee report, and then we'll have a vote immediately after that.
Thank you, Brian. It's my pleasure to serve as the chair of the Constitution Bylaws Committee. As you know, the Constitution Bylaws Committee of the American Head Neck Society is charged with review, evaluation, and maintenance of accurate and ethical constitution and bylaws of the American Head Neck Society, and we submit reports to the council twice a year. I am joined by a tremendous group of individuals who've been very responsive and have been very active in this committee, and I want to thank them for that. We've made a pretty good review of the 2013 Constitution and bylaws, and we felt that we could potentially improve it to reflect more accurately the underpinnings and the processes that are in place in our society. The changes are summarized in the next set of slides, and essentially Article 3, Section 2, qualification of active fellowship. Essentially, we have increased changed language to be more inclusive of our colleagues in reconstructive surgery and also colleagues in ancillary health sciences. We wanted to encourage their membership, their engagement, and their active participation in the society. We did the same for qualifications as to the corresponding fellowship category. On Article 6, Section 2, special qualifications for active fellowship, in the old Constitution and bylaws, there was a requirement for an annual publication a year. We felt that could potentially be restrictive for some of our interested colleagues out there. We took that out, and instead, we inserted this requirement to have more active participation in the society meetings. And so the Constitution and bylaws essentially is requesting and mandating participation in an American Head Neck Society meeting at least once every 5 years. This is a new addition to the Constitution and bylaws, and this is something that you will be voting on. Article 6, Section 4, election to fellowship. Essentially, what we've done over here is because of the significant number of applications that we're receiving, we're asking that the Credentials Committee essentially do the vetting of these applications before presentation to Council. And then we will provide an appropriate opportunity for the candidates to be introduced to the membership and for feedback to be received in time for voting at this business meeting. Article 10, we arrange the committees in the Constitution and bylaws in an alphabetical order, which allows for easier reference, more of a cosmetic upkeep of the document. Article 10, Section 18A, Research Committee, added the chair of the Research Committee or his or her designee to serve as the American Head Neck Society representative to the core. Article 13, Indemnification, Section 1. This was the very last paragraph in the old version of the Constitution and bylaws, which is essentially a historic reflection of the merging of the two societies. We felt that that is better captured in the history pages on our website, And so we're asking the History Committee to take ownership of that information and appropriately place it in our web pages to reflect that significant Sentinel historic landmark, but we did not feel it necessarily was best placed in our Constitution and bylaws document. So those were the changes that we recommended, and I'd like to make a motion for approval, please. Thank you.
So this was approved by the council, but obviously it requires approval by, so any discussion on any of those points? Great. All right, then all in favor? Any opposed? Fantastic. Motion carries, so those will be our new bylaws. Terry Day will actually give the Credentials Committee report, sorry.
Thanks. The Credentials Committee organizes the review of all of the applications for membership. This year, the applications will be due October the 31st. We have a new process in place. Brian spent a full day at BSC headquarters. I was on a conference call with them, and we reorganized that process to make it more efficient, detailed, and addressing all of the requisite qualifications for membership. And so by 2 weeks after that, November the 15th, the BSC management will have done a checklist of all of the requirements for applications. The committee will then review each of those. Each year there's a few gray areas and some people who are not qualified. We do want to get them into the appropriate membership category if they're not qualified for an active member. So therefore that process will then be completed hopefully before the middle of December. And I think that was a day well spent for many years to come for those who have served on the Credentials Committee in the past. And so if you have any input on that, it'll all be listed, the membership categories and qualifications necessary. Thank you.
Great. Thank you again. From the Education Committee, a very active committee, Dr. Goldenberg.
Thank you, Brian. The committee has put together 10 articles to be posted to the website, 5 for healthcare professionals and 5 for patients and their families on oral cavity cancer, oropharyngeal cancer, laryngeal cancer, neck dissection, and surveillance and imaging. In addition, we have initiated and will have our first article coming as a dedicated section called Do You Know Your Guidelines, to be published hopefully quarterly in Head and Neck. We also are in the midst of finishing up another paper on behalf of the committee on robotic education guidelines. And lastly, we have started putting together a YouTube channel to be run by the American Head and Neck Society to have educational videos.
Thank you. Great work. Also, really all our committees are active, but I know Dr. Randolph and the Endocrine Committee have a few things too. Dr. Randolph, is he here? Okay, let me just briefly, they have, I think, 5 major projects that they're working on. An Endocrine Fellow Task Force initiative that Dr. Randolph and Dr. Terrace are leading. The AHNS Endocrine Surgery Outcomes Initiative to try and have a database for quality. The Endocrine Surgery White Paper, there's several white papers coming out from the group, I believe 5 different groups of different topics. There is a AHNS Endocrine Surgical Organization Liaison Program being head up by Dr. Gadiel Har and Greg Randolph for looking at ways we can collaborate with other societies involved in endocrine cancer treatment and surgery, and not only educationally, but with research. And finally, the Joint Course Initiative, just looking specifically at ways to have combined meetings or at least representation of different groups at different meetings. So a lot of work going on there. Ethics and professionalism, Dr. McCammon.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to serve the society in this way. We have two main projects, the Ethics and Professionalism Statement, which in the past year we've worked to make more visible and to raise awareness in the membership, as you saw in the induction ceremony today. And then our second main charge is rolling out and implementing the code for interactions with companies. And we've been working over the past year. I'm very grateful to all the members of my committee looking at the Constitution, bylaws, and other policies to ensure consistency, and we'll be working with the Development Committee and the CME Compliance Committee to develop appropriate disclosure forms for the key leadership of the society. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Dr. Lynn, Derek Lynn from the Reconstructive Committee.
Thanks, Brian. The committee's been very busy doing a number of projects. Just to highlight a few things, the free flap video library has been completed. Lisa Schneider did a great job in putting that together. So I encourage everyone to have your residents and fellows take a look at it. It's been a great resource for our group as well. We're going to continue that endeavor with Tamara Ganem to put together a library of local regional flaps, and we hope to have that accomplished by the next meeting. In terms of multi-institutional studies, I just want to highlight that we put together a 7-institution study looking at reconstruction of the total glossectomy defect, and that was presented nicely by Jeremy Richmond this morning. So we're going to continue these efforts, and we have multiple projects ongoing, and if anyone has any ideas outside the committee for projects and ongoing ideas, we'd be happy to hear them. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, Dr. Krempel, Greg, we're going to speak a little bit on the History Committee.
So the History Committee had 3 goals for this year. The first was to update our information on past presidents. I'm happy to say we have bios from everyone from 1990 on forward. We're working on the older folks, trying to get that, the presidents who were prior to 1990. We also had a goal of putting together a historical article on one of the greats and submitting that. We accomplished that sort of. We've got an article written, and we're working with the journal trying to find out what's the right venue for that and get that processing. The third thing that we wanted to do was do some work on video to get some of our folks together. And we didn't accomplish a lot on that, but for this next year, our target is with the 15-year anniversary of the merger to get together the folks who were behind the scenes on that and get some of their stories in terms of the background and highlight that. So that's our major goal for the next year.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Koch from the Humanitarian Committee.
Thanks, Brian. The Humanitarian Committee is alive and well and working on ways to facilitate and coordinate activities that the membership is engaged in reaching out to particularly the developing world in ways to bring our expertise to them. We have been working with AHNS on guidelines for doing thyroidectomy in developing world settings and talk of expanding that to other head and neck cancer-related procedures. We're also now planning for a program for next year's meeting that we want to focus around some practical initiatives that others outside the committee can engage in so that we can encourage and coordinate everyone's efforts in this regard.
Thank you. Dr. Wax could not be here today. Oops, sorry. Derek had some slides. Okay. Sorry about that, Derek. Dr. Wax could not be here today, so I told him I would present. This is our nominating slate for 2014-2015. President Doug Gerard, President-elect Dennis Krause, Vice President Jeff Myers, Fellows at Large Bill Lydiat, Greg Farwell, Amy Chen, and Nominating Committee Greg Krempel, Bevan Yu, and finally the Finance Committee Stephen Wong. So we need a motion to accept. Second, discussion. Okay, did I hear a motion to close? Okay, nominations, so great. We just need a vote then to ratify the slate as presented. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Perfect. so completed. So congratulations to our new officers for 2015. All right, congratulations, Doug. All right, Prevention and Early Detection Committee, Joe Califano. Is Joe here?
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks very much. The Screening and Prevention Committee met this time, and we had a couple activities. I want to thank the committee members for their commitment and time. We evaluated and recommended 3 awards in conjunction with the Head and Neck Cancer Alliance, and I wanted to recognize Dr. Day, Dr. Moore, and Dr. Nathan for their help and the commitment of the Head and Neck Cancer Alliance in funding one of these 3 awards. We also drafted a response to the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force statement on oral and oropharyngeal cancer screening, which should be up on the website shortly. And the committee is also going to develop a recommendation statement and evaluation statement on e-cigarettes on behalf of the Head and Neck Society, which we'll be presenting to the council sometime in the coming year. And thank you very much.
Thank you. So, sorry, Greg Falwell, then from the Publications Committee.
Thank you, Brian. I'm pleased to report that on behalf of the Publication Committee, it's been a good year. I'd like to thank the members for leading the charge in the very rapid and efficient review of the large bolus of papers that have come in association with this meeting, and encourage the rest of the membership to participate in what I think is a very important part of establishing the literature that our field benefits from. We've had a great relationship with our affiliated journal, JAMA Otolaryngology, who has been very supportive of this meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so the next is the Quality Committee, Amy Hessel. Is Amy? Okay, we'll bypass that. Then the Relative Value and CPT Advisory Committee, Brendan Stack. Thought I saw Brendan here. All right. Okay, again, the biggest issue I think with this committee is that they participated in the completion for the new CPT code, which is to be published later this year. No early suggestions about how that will come out, but they continue their work in working with the Academy and with government. All right, so the Research Committee, Dr. Yarborough.
Yeah, we have several activities going on in the Research Committee. Would like to thank everyone from the Head and Neck Society who participated in the core research review. We submitted 4 grants for funding this year. 4 grants were funded. We also have some subcommittees that we've created, as Randy mentioned, for the foundation. The return on investment, I think, is important for the membership of the Head and Neck Society to know. So we're going to make that an ongoing process. Also, we have increasing number of surveys that are coming in through the membership. We don't want to overload the membership with surveys, and we want to have the best surveys put forward. So we're creating a process for that to forward to council. Finally, we also are working on the upcoming meeting through the membership of the Research Committee, and we're looking forward to that meeting. So the last thing is the core review process is being reassessed with the Research Committee and with leadership, including Brian and other leadership from the Head and Neck Society, to try to maintain a ceiling on our potential costs for review. We don't want our cost structure for review to overwhelm our total dollars given for research grants, so we're working on a process for that. That's the end of the report.
Thank you. And again, a special thank you to Dell. He participated in a lot of conference calls to help us work with the Academy and with CORE to maintain our association with it, and I really appreciate that. It was a lot of extra work this year. All right. Karen Pittman will describe a lot of the work. It's been a very busy year for the website committee.
We
we just want to thank the members of the website committee who've taken part in making sure that the website is kept up to date. We also initiated a public member search, which is a benefit of membership. So if you've not done so already, you can load your information, a short bio, a photo, and then it's searchable by zip code. So the public can find you from our website. And then we've been working with the with the education committee as well as the recon committee to get some of these educational materials available to you and your patients. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Karen. So we have a couple minutes for new business. If anyone has new business from the floor. Okay, if not, we can move on. So I'd like to thank our retiring officers. Dave Isley is rotating off the committee from the executive committee as past president. Dr. Ralph Gilbert, Marilyn Wong, and Eric Sturgis are rotating off as fellows at large, and and therefore the council, they've done great work. And so just maybe a public show of thanks to these officers. I would be remiss, obviously, in not extending one big thank you from the entire society to Dr. Terry Day for his work as president. He is very soon to be the immediate past president of the society. And Terry's done a tremendous amount of work. I know and many of you are on the leadership and you understand, but just countless hours and emails. And so Terry's done a fantastic job, and it's been fantastic to work with him. So Terry, any final words?
Am I passing this to Doug now?
Yeah, no, not yet, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to highlight, normally at this meeting, we choose a few committees that have done just an exemplary job, and this year it was across the board. I mean, there was not one committee that didn't do much or had a slow year. It was busy with every committee. It's just amazing. And I think what you see now from endocrine and prevention and research, we now have a stronger voice, not just in our group, but in the entire United States and around the world. People are looking to us for opinions and consensus statements and positions and things like that. So I think, slowly we're making a big difference in getting our word out there to the rest of the world. So thanks to all the members and committees. And that's all.
Terry, we're just going to give you this small plaque in recognition of your great efforts. There'll be another gift coming, but we wanted to give you something here, so if you could, we'll take a picture.
Thank you.
Well done. Fabulous talk today. All right, our last order of business is the introduction of our new president, as of a few minutes ago, Doug Gerard, who will close the meeting. Doug, any words?
Thank you, Brian, and I just want to thank everybody for the honor to serve. I have some very big shoes to fill, and I think I better start by doing something different here. We have a new tradition, apparently. No, but seriously, as you've heard today, we have incredible momentum in this organization. Membership continues to grow, and that needs to continue to be a big effort of ours over the coming year, and in large part to engage our finishing fellows and residents, to engage them in the society and make sure they participate. And we just heard how active these committees are, and we certainly need to maintain that momentum. There is so much going on in the committees, so much great work. We really need to continue to do that. And then I want to thank Randy Weber for all the work he's done with the foundation. We've made tremendous progress there, but we really need to get to that $3 million goal so we can really put the society on the stable footing going forward, that we're not trying to continue to fund our research and education activities out of operational funds. That will give us tremendous stability, but it's really going to take all of us pulling together to do that. So certainly will be a big push for this year as well. And then really look forward to the format of the 2015 meeting. We have a pretty short time cycle to do that, so those folks that are going to be involved with that, we're going to get very busy very quick because April will be here before we know it. But I'm really excited about the concept of the translational research meeting in combination with that and overlapping with that, and really look forward to a great meeting next spring. So again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll do my best to serve. Thank you. You want to close it up?